Great. Hi, you guys. So we're out here at Zion National Park today. We're about to do a hike up to Angel's Landing Trail, hoping to make it to the top today. It sounds like there's a decent amount of snow and ice up there, so we're going to make sure it's safe before we go. But it's about a 5-mile out and back, 1,600 feet of elevation gain. So really excited to check out some of those beautiful overlooks and just see what the trail has to offer. So let's go. My name's Alecia. I'm 32 years old. I'm from Andover, Minnesota. I work for Target as an associate buyer in the women's knits apparel business. And outside of work, I love reading, cooking, getting outside, music, all that good stuff. And in my free time when I can, I love to travel as much as possible and get out to beautiful places like this. We're at Zion today and really excited to get on with our hike and see what we can find. So the thing I love about traveling so much is that I'll never be able to go everywhere, see everything, or do everything. That's also unfortunately one of the most disappointing things about it, but it means there's always a new adventure and some place new to go. I just love, learning about the new cultures, the places that I go, meeting new people and hearing their stories, and there's just so much beauty in this world to explore. It's something I hope to continue, for many, many years to come. So one of my favorite memories from traveling was about 2 years ago when I was in Switzerland by myself, and I took a boat across Lake Lucerne where I was staying and was hiking on the side of the mountain, and it was just the most serene, beautiful landscape you can possibly imagine, overlooking the valleys. And I was out there for myself for several hours, a couple at a time where I didn't see anybody, and it was just so picturesque and so empowering to know that I got myself there. I was doing this on my own, relying on nothing but my own instincts and sense of direction to bring me to this beautiful place and have this wonderful experience. And so it's something I hope to continue to recreate as I travel alone across the world, in future endeavors. And so then today, we're still on this trail. We're about halfway through, about to come through. It looks like the final turn up to the last half mile where the scramble is that we're hoping to make to the top of Angel's Landing for. So ready to go.
Programs.
All right, so we just met a couple people on the trail that we wanted to talk to. They're just coming down from Angel's Landing. So can you guys tell me where you're from and what your names are?
Yes. I'm Anna.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Lizzie.
I'm Jeff.
And we're from Memphis, Tennessee.
Awesome. And what brought you guys out to Zion this weekend?
Wanted to get away right before Christmas, hence the hats.
Yes.
And we've never done Zion. And so we came, we heard it was a little less crowded this time of year. And so we
Here we
picked this weekend.
Awesome. Did you guys make it all the way to the top?
We're gonna let her answer that question.
It was just way too icy. I made it there's this one last leg, and then I made it up halfway there, and then I was just talking to everybody, and everyone had chains on their shoes, and I was like, I just am not skilled enough to do any of that.
I was just too scared.
Our goal is to come back in the summer and do it when there's
We'll be back in
ice.
July.
There you go, part 2. You guys are just coming down. How was it? I heard there's some ice, maybe some snow.
So I think each of the three of us had a different experience. For myself, it was much easier than I thought it was, and it was technical, but there's a lot of chains for aid, and then different people choose to have crampons on their feet and others don't. I didn't use anything, and I found it shockingly easy after hearing all the terror stories.
People ask me all the time, if they haven't traveled alone, where to start and what's the best way to do it. And I think my best advice to anybody who wants to try it for themselves is just to start small. Don't try and tackle something that is so out of your comfort zone that you're going to be too afraid to go after it. My first trip by myself was actually just 2.5 hours north of where I live. It was an overnight in Duluth, Minnesota, and that was a big deal for me at the time. But when you start with something that gives you just a healthy amount of fear, and then you keep building on that slowly but surely, pretty soon before you know it, you're going to be taking leaps that you never thought you could make before. Again, I started small, and then before I knew it, I was traveling overseas by myself and climbing mountains alone, in Switzerland, and hiking in Ireland and Mexico. So, just take those small steps one day at a time, and you'll slowly just over time build the vision of what you can accomplish. And it's pretty incredible when you find yourself in these places and never thought you might be there. So the whole reason I'm out here is because when I was 29, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and never expected to get the news. Nobody does, but especially in your 20s when you still think you're invincible, that you've got your whole life ahead of you, and everything is supposed to be promised and guaranteed, and then you find out that it's not. And I'm so grateful in retrospect for that, that course correct in my life that gave me the gratitude that I have now for my health and everything that my health affords me. And I'm just so happy to be here in these beautiful places. I just made it to the top of Angel's Landing, which was just a crazy feat. My hands are raw. I'm just still shaking on an adrenaline rush from pulling myself up there, and I'm just doing these things that I never thought I could do before, and it's all because of that and how it just fundamentally changed who I am, and gave me this drive to go after life and just live life for now, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. And so I tell my friends and my loved ones, you might be scared, but you've got to do it, because the scarier thing is to come to terms with your own mortality and then realize that you didn't go after the things that you love. If I could give anybody one piece of advice, I think it would be to go after the things you want and not let fear hold you back. I think that too often in life we let our fear keep us in our comfort zone, and it tells us that we can't do the things that we actually are very capable of doing. And once you kind of push yourself to move through that fear, you feel it, you breathe through it, and you just go after the things you want anyways. You start to take more steps in life, and you start to do bigger things, and slowly you start to even just expand your vision of yourself and what's achievable. And before you know it, you can look back on all the progress you've made, and I think you'll always be really astounded by the steps that you've taken and how far you've come.